It's time for health tips. Now here's your host, Dr. Alma Jenkins.
Good evening. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Dr. Alma Jenkins, and this is Health Tips. You know, I am so happy that you're watching tonight, and I do want you to know how much I appreciate your viewership. Many of you have been faithfully watching this show, and you let me know that when I go to the grocery store, I'll run out for something, or I see you in church, and you're reminding me of the fact that you watch the show faithfully, and I want you to know how much we appreciate that here at Health Tips. And we want you to know that we'd love to come to your church or your group or your organization. Just drop us a line and let us know that you'd like us to come, and we'll be right there. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about, or if you want us to pick the subject, we'd be happy to. Well, this is a new year. I guess many of you are making resolutions. You're trying to eat healthier. You're going to exercise. You're going to get up and have your quiet time. I hope that you've decided you're going to do these things. And we hope to help you get those things done. Now, if you've missed some of our episodes, you may tune in to our website, dralmajenkins.com, and it'll take you to a link which will take you to YouTube, and you can see some of the shows which have been uploaded. So I'm very happy about that, and I hope that you'll tune in to the website as far as getting the opportunity to see some other shows. Now it's a work in progress, so that's not all there is to it. We're still working on that site, but you can see some of the shows that have been uploaded already. So what are we going to do tonight? You know, what I decided to do is to share with you what I'm actually going through as far as eating. You know, I was at the hospital the other day, and one of the nurses said, "Oh, Dr. Jenkins, do you like turnips?" I said, "Sure, I love turnips." She said, "Well, the roots." I said, "Yeah, I like the roots too. I like rutabaga. I like, a lot of root vegetables." And so she wanted to give me these turnips. So for a while they sat in the refrigerator, and I hate to tell you, they sat in there for some days, maybe even a week or something at least, before I got a chance to do anything with them. And so I thought, what can I do with these turnips? Because I do like turnips. But when you're working with them, it's a very firm vegetable. And I got this bright idea that I was going to cut them into little bits, which I did, and put into the oven. I made some turnip chips, and I wanted to share with you how I did that, and I want you to try it. And I'm going to actually put it in the oven and take it out so you can see what they look like, and maybe you'll want to try it. Okay, so what I did, now I've already taken the liberty to go ahead and peel this turnip, because they come with a skin on them, or peeling on them, and I peeled it to the point where we can now slice it. Now if you have one of those thin slicers, good for you, because you can make some really nice chips with that. But I'm doing the old-fashioned way, and I'm just making a few to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm making, and this is really the hard way to do it, and I'm going to cut this in half and do some smaller chips too, make it a little bit easier for us. Okay, so if you have one of those fancy chip makers that you can slice them thin and everything, get that. But I cut these turnips up. Now I'm just giving you an idea. And what I'm going to do is spread these out here. Turnips. Okay? You might say, well, what about that? Who wants to have that? Well, let's see. You won't get to taste it because you can't through the television, of course, but you'll have to take my word for it once I get these out of the oven. So you take some of these chips, okay, and Now, there are a couple of ways you can do this. Let me get something else here. I chose to do it this way. I'm just gonna dab these. Now you can either do just one side, or you can turn them over and do both sides if you like. We're gonna do a little bit of both and see how can we tell any difference. Of course, I don't know how we're gonna remember which one was which. I'm gonna dab some on one side and some on both, and you won't be able to tell. We're gonna put some down here that were definitely not on both sides. Okay. Down here. But so that now these don't have the oil on both sides, but I'm still going to turn on the oil side for it to absorb the spices I'm going to put on it. Okay, so this bottom row here is without it. So then what do? So then I'm gonna put some pepper on it, little splice of it, some salt. Now I have something kind of special. This is lemon and rosemary mix. It's dried rosemary and lemon. Now you know I have rosemary growing in my yard, but I got this for a little Christmas present when, I think sometime in the recent past, and it's lemon and rosemary oil dipping seasoning, you know, and it came in this little basket of different things that people can give you for a present. Now I'm gonna sneeze because of that pepper. Okay, so I'm gonna sprinkle some of this on here. Excuse me. It's all this seasoning making me sneeze. Okay, and then last I'm gonna put a little chili powder. Little chili. Little chili powder. Okay, now look at that. See that? All right, now I'm gonna pop this in the oven. That's not gonna need to be in there long. It's on 350. So guess what else I did with my turnips? Well, I cut them up, okay, and if I can have a spoon over there in the drawer. I cut up the turnips the same way you saw me do, but only in not necessarily in chip form. And I used, you might want to get this, by Cereal, Italian crushed tomatoes with chili peppers. And it comes in a box, a paper box. And you know, I'm getting more in favor of buying things that are in glass or paper, because you're reading so much about these cans now being made out of material that has been found to be unhealthy. You know, you've noticed the cans with this white sort of lining in it. Well, there's been some things said about that's not very impressive as far as health. So I try now to do more other kinds of containers if I can help it. And this one I found to be really good. I combine this. We have butter beans in here. I have turnips. Here's some of the turnips that I cut up in there. I put the crushed tomatoes. I cut up some carrots, okay? And I put some of this in there, the rosemary lemon. I put some of that in there. Olive oil, crushed pepper, a little bit of lemon juice, and maybe a little bit of lemon juice too. And I let that boil. And let me tell you something. I'm calling this Alma's turnip vegetable soup. It is delicious. Now let me tell you, a lot of soup that you can make, particularly if it has broccoli in it, which this doesn't, over time it starts to not taste good. because something happens with the vegetables. But these, oh, and some green peppers, green bell peppers are in here. But this soup gets better the older it gets. Now you can't say that about a lot of soups. And this is cold. It's even good cold. I'm telling you. It is even good cold. So you can imagine heating it up is really good. Now you have to like turnips to be able to like this, because it has the taste of turnips. And I love it. And the bell peppers in there make it taste kind of like hammy flavor. You know, you would think that you had a ham seasoning in here. That's what it tastes like. And for those of you who want to lose weight, you should try this, because you can combine this with a sandwich and you've got lunch, you know. And by the way, I have put into practice what I've told you. Remember when I said, if you want to get 30 minutes of exercise in, do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, and 10 at dinner? Well, I've started with the 10 in the morning. On my way in to work, I stopped by a building that is close to where I work, where people do a lot of walking. And I went in there and walked for 10 minutes on my way into the office. And it just peps you up. I'm telling you, it really feels good. Try it. And once you do that, you're like, oh, you know, I did that. Whereas if you say, I'm going to exercise for 30 minutes and try to do the whole 30 minutes, then you don't do it, then you're frustrated, then you feel defeated, right? But if you go ahead and do it, then you feel like you have accomplished something really important. So I want to encourage you to do your 10 minutes in the morning, and 10 minutes at lunch, and 10 minutes at dinner. And when you go to bed, you can say, you know what, I've done 30 minutes of exercise a day. And if you do that every single day, guess what? You're going to lose weight. You are going to lose weight. Okay, so let's get back to this soup, because it's really good. So now what we're talking about, look at it. You can just see how rich it looks. Now I don't have any thickener in this. There's no thickener. But what happens is, as you boil this and let it just cook, you know, for an hour maybe, maybe not, depends on how mushy you want it or whatever. But as this cooks, the turnips get softer and softer, and as you stir it, it becomes kind of creamy, okay? So it becomes creamy, and by it becoming creamy, then it looks like you've got thickener in it. Okay, so look at that. And let me tell you, that is absolutely, absolutely delicious. Let's taste a little more of it. Delicious. You have got to try that. Okay, so I made a turnip soup out of that. The butter beans do wonders for it. So write down the ingredients. Butter beans, bell peppers cut up, turnip chunks cut up, carrots, and this crushed tomato with chili peppers. Now, as far as spices, we put lemon and rosemary spice, and you can get this from the Pampered Chef, by the way. Now, I'm not a Pampered Chef seller or anything, but they do sell this, and it is good, a good seasoning. So we put some of this in it, olive oil, a little sprig of lemon, salt, pepper, and you've got yourself something really, really good. I'm trying to think, was there anything else? I did put some chili pepper in there as well. But it is delicious, so I hope you will try it. Let's take a look at our chips and see what they're doing. They're coming along. They're not quite ready, but they're getting there. Now, what do we want to do in the interim while we're waiting? You know what we want to do, don't you? All righty. We are going to do some exercise. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, and 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. For those of you who haven't tried turnips in a while, I can tell you from experience, they hold up very well in the refrigerator. I don't even know exactly how long those were in there, but they hold up very well, at least a week, probably more than that. And you can cut the skin off around it, and there you've got what you need. And so it's a really good non-wasting vegetable. So often you buy these vegetables, particularly if you're single, and you buy a lot and you end up throwing it away because you buy it and then you don't process it. So I advise all of you, especially you all that are single like myself, when you buy stuff like this, go ahead and process it. Put it in your little plastic bags, cut it up, wash it, get it ready for cooking. Either freeze it or cook it and then freeze it. Because if you don't, you're gonna waste a lot of food, okay? All right, let's march. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. 2, 3, 4. Whew, that felt good. It really did. It felt really good. Now let's do some boxing. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now I know a lot of you watch, but are you exercising with me? Okay? I want you to do that too, because I want to know how you're feeling. And I want to know that you're moving. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. And that's a good motto in life. No matter what happens, you got to keep moving. You got to keep going forward. Those of you who are dealing with some very tough things, someone that you love has passed away, maybe you've gotten a divorce, maybe, your kids are disappointing you, or whatever it is. You got to keep going. You got to keep moving. Your life is going forward and you got to keep it moving. All right? Okay. So just remember that. And there are plenty of scriptures to inspire you and help you to be able to do that, because you can't do it on your own. You're going to need plenty of prayer to get that really going for you. Okay? All right. Are you doing this with me? Let's do this for a few more minutes and then let's check on our oven, because we don't want our root vegetable to burn. All right, let's march. 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, 8 and 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's do 25, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. 2, 3, 4. Oh boy, that feels really good. It really does. Now what I want you to do when you get a chance, not necessarily right now, I shouldn't say now, but when you can, just stand up and bend over and just hold it to the floor there and give your back a little bit of relief. Because when you bend like that, you spread the spine a bit and take some of the pressure off of it. That's why it feels so good when you lay flat and put your legs up and your knees up, like you put them up on a box or something, because it's taking that stress off your back. Standing like this is kind of stressful on your back over time. So it needs to relax a little bit, okay? So now let's just stretch a little bit more. Let's hold our arms out. Just let them stay out like that to the count of 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close your eyes and just think about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Something very pleasant. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. And now let's take a deep breath. In, out. Deep breath in. and out. One more time. Deep breath in and out. Okay, now smile while you're doing that and think kind thoughts. Think pleasant things. Think about something someplace you'd like to be or something you'd like to be doing. Okay, and sometimes it's just good to be quiet all by yourself and just think. Because you know it's so busy, everybody's moving, everything's going fast and hectic and crazy, and you don't always get a chance to just be. You know, that's why we're called human beings. You know, we need time to just think and be. Let's check on our oh boy. Look at that, it's getting there. Look at that, now that's gotta cool a little bit and then we're gonna taste it and see what we think. Now you can get fancy and go ahead and get those little things that make the thin slices. But there's a thin slice. I'm gonna let that cool before I stick my finger in there. And then we're gonna eat that and see what it tastes like. Okay, now if you cut it real thin and it stays in there, of course it's gonna look a little burned, okay? But the thinner they are, the more chippy it is. You know what I mean? The more chippy it is. All right, so let's spread our legs apart and let's go from side to side, okay? 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. For those of you who haven't tasted turnips, and I bet you have because you've had them in the cafeteria with the leafy part on it. You're used to the leafy part and seeing some of the white turnip just in the form of a little cube, you know, mixed in with the greens. You know, we call them turnip greens, okay? But these are just the turnip roots. The roots, which are round like a big old ball, you know. I would say not a huge ball, but like I guess it would really be a small ball as balls are, because they're usually it's not like a basketball big, but it's like a grapefruit big, a good big grapefruit. Okay, a little bigger is what you can find with these turnip roots. Actually bigger than that, maybe 2 grapefruits together is about the size of a turnip root. And when you buy them in the stores, they're waxed. So you peel that, and the fruit is the vegetable is quite firm, even hard. So get you a good sharp knife and cut them into pieces, or like I say, get the fancy little slicers. You can buy them now. I think they've come on TV even. The little slicers that make chips for you. And I think you'll like that. Okay, so let's do 10 of these. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. 2, 3, 4. Let's take a deep breath again. And let it out. And I hope you'll try turnips because they're healthy for you. And a lot of you need to eat more veggies anyway. You're big meat eaters, some of you, and gravy eaters. You know, you got to put all that gravy over that rice and that big old piece of meat. And you might or might not have any vegetables on your plate, some of you. But I want you to always have a vegetable on your plate. Preferably eat something nice and leafy green every day, or something of color in the veggie every day. Okay? Remember that eating more fruits and vegetables are thought to decrease a man's risk of getting prostate cancer, in addition to it being good for all of us. All right, so let's just try one of these. Now you can wait and let it get cooler, but let's try it. It's good. Now, don't shake a lot of rosemary, too much rosemary on it, because rosemary has a strong taste if you put too much on it. And I think what I did at one point too is I think I sprinkled a little lemon juice on it. Okay. Now, the thinner you have these and the longer it stays in the oven, the more crispy it's going to get. And the crispier it is, the better it tastes. Now these are not as crispy as they could be because we took them out in the interest of time. So I'm trying to find some that's more crispy. Here's one. And also, I'm trying to see if the ones that only had it on one side are any more crispy than the ones over there. It seems to be more dependent upon how thin you cut it. But it's a good snack. It's a really good snack. So you can cut up your turnip greens, your turnip root, oil it down and season it with whatever seasonings you like. Those are the ones I like. And put it in the oven. And you can snack on it. And you know, it's kind of an acquired taste, but it's pretty good, you know. For those of you who are really into potato chips, now you're gonna like potato chips better, but I think this is actually delicious. Don't put too much oil on it unless you're gonna let it stay in the oven a long time, because that tends to soften it. But if you can let it stay in there until it's really crispy, it's even better. So I've introduced you tonight to turnip root chips as well as turnip root soup. And I hope you'll try it and add to it what you want, and then let me know how you like it. Tell me how you tweaked it. And send us your recipe. We might want to use it on the show. We may want you to come on the show and show us how you make this healthy dish that you love so much. So I'd love to have your dish come. And maybe I'll even feature it in 30 Days to Fitness when we get that ready. You know, we've been talking about it and we haven't had it ready yet, but we're still hopeful for it, okay? So we'd love to have you submit a recipe. And again, we may have you on the show to fix it for us. I want to thank you for watching tonight. Tune in next Saturday. We'll see you on Health Tips. Thank you for watching. Good night.